Welcome to Stu and the Nunn, an online radio show and podcast focused on national security, policy, politics, and selfless service. We're here to give you an honest opinion, a different perspective, and hopefully a few laughs. We do this by not only interviewing guests, but also sharing our own perspectives and asking you, the listener, to interact with us on the show chat room, via our Facebook page, and on Twitter. We would like to thank those who make this show possible and allow us to bring it to you. Our show sponsors.
Our best show sponsors, which are, of course, Enlist 9 Fight Company, and our good friends at Gears for Grunts, producing the ramp. We are wearing our Gears for Grunts shirts today. My good friend Shard, also known as Doug.
Love you, man.
Here.
Yeah.
A little toast to you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Stu and the Nunn. We here on this June 13th. Alrighty, June 13th here. We are in the supplementary studio of in our southern studio.
Supplementary studio. Try saying that 3 times.
Yes.
Fast.
Before you start drinking. So we are here. Toby is not with me tonight and with us. He is, I'm not sure where he's at. I'm not sure I can disclose where he's at. But anyways, he isn't here. We knew he wasn't going to be here, so it's Doug and I bringing you the show tonight and working off of minimal tech, but hopefully still good tech. We're set up. We got everything going. It looks like we're 5x5. Everything is green.
Great.
I'm trying to see where we are on comments. I see, Rob's in there. Thank you, Rob. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to connect to keep an eye on comments. Obviously, you guys can always comment on the Facebook page and do all that good stuff, or text us and so on and so forth.
Be the alternate.
So, yeah, I am bringing that up. But anyways, again, welcome. Thank you for allowing us into your homes.
Yeah,
so Toby's watching too. All right.
Toby.
Tom Mead, what's up, man? Welcome. So, anyways, we are we're bringing you here tonight. We got a lot to cover, as we always do.
Always.
I am down here in the mighty ATX and enjoying my time in Austin.
It's kind of the Disney room, if you can see it in the back.
It is kind of the Disney room.
Mini. So it's the Disney room, to be specific.
When we're at Toby's, it's like hockey stuff.
It's a hockey room.
Yes, it's hockey stuff.
Right.
But there's no more hockey because the St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup last night. Game 7. Congratulations to them. Really surprised. They started out the season as the worst ranked team in the NHL. So it's been the last couple of years. When you think last year the Caps got all the way and, of course, won it. The brand new expansion team, the Las Vegas Knights, started last year, went all the way to the Stanley Cup. And now this year you have the worst ranked team at the start of the season go all the way to win the Stanley Cup. So boys and girls, just tells you, no, it doesn't matter how bad things look at the start of something, it can always turn around.
It's always,
you work hard, try hard, you get there. So congrats to them. So no hockey tonight, no hockey for a while. It'll be it's going to be September, October before we get back into it. So it's going to bring a few months off. But anyways, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I just want to,
big shout out.
We're drinking to TX bourbon, which Mr. Troy's enjoying, and I just went for the sort of the blue collar TX whiskey. So only the best for Mr. Blue.
So we have it all going on. There we go.
Right. We're
all right.
And since you're blue and I'm red, does that mean you're the sort of representing the Democratic wing, if you will?
We could.
And I'm the Republican because I'm,
We could. One of us has to be. One of us has to take one for the team.
God love you that you took that one for the team. I appreciate that.
I'm not sure this means that I'm going to represent the left's talking points on a lot of topics. I don't think I could do a Stephen Colbert and fake myself out and act like I'm one kind of person. I'm not. But I am wearing blue in honor because it takes blue and red together with a little bit of white in there to make this country turn around and go around. So we need both sides, because if we just had all Republicans, if we just had all Democrats, it would not be good. We need that counter. We need that balance, right? We need independence. We need all that stuff. So as long as they keep each other in check and just don't toe the line. But anyways, hopefully we're sounding good. I'm watching a few in the chat. Maybe Rob, our unpaid producer, can let us know.
We got to pay that guy.
We're going to pay him in some VO hats and
yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't have to be money. It could be.
Hey, we don't have money to pay anybody. Yeah, so
just,
maybe we could get him a Gears for Guns.
I'll get him a T-shirt. What?
Sure.
I just need to know what's.
We'll get you stuff. Yeah, so he can have the sharp-looking T-shirt.
That's right.
And
got the flag.
Yeah.
Denoting patriotism right here.
It is right there. You got the flag
on the right side. Oh.
Yeah. So, anyways, look, there's a lot of stuff going on because why? It's our country. It's Thursday, and there was news today. So we're going to cover a number of topics.
Absolutely, there was.
So he says a little low in the volume. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thanks for the heads up.
I'm going
to. He's the Camo. He's a Sigo.
He is a Sigo.
I appreciate the.
So Rob, I hope that. Let me know if that sounds better. I just turned it up a little bit. We are a little bit away from the camera. It is running off of the computer mic. I did not bring an external mic with me this week.
Field expedient show here.
Yeah, excuse me. Look, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We are no doubt going to cover a majority of the time to the big news that we announced on Monday after the White House announced it, and that is our good friend Dave Bellavia finally being recognized with the Medal of Honor here in a couple weeks. That is big news, as we talked about in the blog post we sat on for a while, and that we were waiting for the president to officially announce, which he did around 9:50 a.m. Eastern time on Monday, and I think by 10 a.m. our blog post was up. Little fun fact, Doug, most people don't know, I was on a plane and watching, and one of my sons texted me and told me right then, he goes, "Hey, the White House just announced this," and I was like, "That's all I need." Post, right?
Push send, right?
It went out on Boohammer. Awesome. It went on Boohammer.com, Stu and the Nunn, and went out there and started picking up traction. So we're going to definitely talk about that. We have Iran poking the bear a little bit over in the Gulf today. 2 oil tankers being suspectedly, one of them is being referenced as being torpedoed. There's also talks of unexploded ordnance that was detected. The 5th Fleet is in the area, so we're going to talk about that, what they're finding. This isn't the last administration. I would think that any country would think twice before trying to see how far they could get away with this administration. But they obviously made some people have to learn lessons the hard way. So we're going to talk about that. A lot of other stuff going on. We have by the way, of course, the tankers adjusted gas prices already hit that. We have some political changes happening in the administration, Sarah Sanders, and a lot of things there. But anyways, with all that, Doug, I want to welcome the show and thank you for having Gear for
Great to be here as always. Thank you, sir.
Hosting us in this fine studio.
You're always welcome. Thanks for having us in your homes, everyone. Here's to you.
So let me check the chat here. I have to keep kind of going over here. Rob, let me know if that sounds a little bit better. So, so as you guys know, a little quick brief history if you haven't watched in a while. Doug and I go back how far now? 27
years. I was just telling you earlier, I think to this month. Fort Richardson, Alaska, 1st of 501st Airborne, the only Arctic Airborne Battalion in the United States Army, specifically the mortar platoon. So I came over from 1st Platoon Charlie Company, and about this time, right before, I guess it was sort of the train up, ramp up, if I may use that term, ramp up, for when we jumped into Camp Pendleton for Operation Tandem Thrust 92.
Yes,
and
the very first tandem thrust.
I think we went in at 800 feet, the lowest you can go in peacetime, if memory serves. And then we did some tactical stuff there, and then we did some live fire out there too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So for 27 years, I was a lowly E5 FTC chief or something. I'm sure. Maybe an E6 by then, I don't remember.
I was a brand new jump master, literally right out of the MTT.
So I was an E5. You were a brand new jump master.
You went to next year.
You're a brand new lieutenant of this mortar platoon, and anyone who's been around infantry units knows that
it's
mortars and scouts and
one round away from career ending.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Just one round.
Yeah, mortar
your career's over.
Doug will tell you, mortar. When the commander calls you in and says, "Hey, I've got a specialty platoon for you. You've been an infantry platoon leader
because you're special.
I got a specialty. This is a rear career enhancing. This will be good on your OER. It's usually going to be scouts or mortars. Of course, a lot of the high-speed Ranger tabs always want
Impact grad, not honor grad,
no,
honor grad. Just glad to have graduated. That's how I am.
So for Impact, it's infantry, mortar, platoon,
and then went to MLIG.
So they usually say, hey, you get a specialty platoon. You may get the transportation motor pool platoon. You don't want that. That's nothing special about that.
No.
Not for an infantry guy. And you may get scouts. They all want that because the cool high speed dudes. Or you may get the mortars. I'm not sure mortars is viewed upon by many lieutenants as a special thing. I would think when they first get told, you're like, mortars, really?
No, I thought it was cool because again, going to MLIC was awesome for me. And here's the funny thing, Troy.
Had you already went to that?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I
so
went to
you
that
knew what it was about. Okay, I didn't know.
I already had the Ranger School thing done, and all my friends were at Ranger School, and I'm like sucking up to schools, going to the gentlemen's schools, whether, suffering, Anyway,
right.
So I joked because I remember I was branch so I was actually a signal officer from birth, detailed to the infantry, and the whole time there's a couple other of us in IMPOC or MLIC. And we're going, I'm never going to be a mortar. This is cool, but I'm never going to be a mortar platoon leader because, I'm going to become a first lieutenant, and then the signal corps is going to suck me away and send me to some transition course, and they're going to reprogram me as a signal officer. They're going to send me, whatever. So Colonel Lyle Brook, I remember we were at the range because, I don't know if you remember this, Charlie Company was selected by USERPAC. No. Anyway, they just said, we want to know how much time and how many rounds it'll take to get every soldier in an infantry company to shoot expert with the M16A2 rifle. Needless to say, we didn't get 100%. We got like 96% after a couple weeks, but we did the whole Cape Nome distance range. We did all this sort of extra training to qualify. But I think we got it up to like 96.
Good spend of ammo.
There was ammo everywhere.
Yes.
So it was just kind of like, I don't know, the ammo might have gone back to the Vietnam War era. I don't know whether there was just gobs of it. So anyway, I was out there when I was notified because I was walking by, and he said, hey, Lieutenant Mullen, blah, blah, blah. I said, who was her? And then the rest, here we are, 27 years later talking about it. So it's pretty awesome.
And we got Tommy in the chat throwing us a high angle hell, all about the maggots, and Kenneth Kobeck. 11 Charlie himself in there.
Love it.
Yes.
Love the 11 Charlie.
That's right. So all about the maggots. Anyway, so yeah, Doug and I go way back. Our families are super close.
Absolutely.
We watch each other's children get born. Not made, just born. We're not that close.
We're not quite that progressive.
No.
Yeah, not quite that progressive.
Not in the making of part, just the being born and being there.
The
and
output.
Babysitting.
Yes.
And doing that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And, that was kind of a rarity. Back in the Army back then in the early 90s, NCOs and officers didn't really hang out a lot, whatever. They always had that really nice housing on base,
Yeah.
The top end stuff.
That eightplex I lived in, it was a real big difference between,
But we did.
Cool,
our families, our wives got along great. Neither one of them wore their husband's rank.
No.
Because, and are freaked out over that. We just bonded and gelled. And,
just a great guy, and
we put up a lot of pictures. Usually, we haven't done one this time. Every time we're together,
I know we got to get that same.
We do a selfie, and then Doug usually puts up a picture.
We
from
create
us
that
on the drop zone.
That fun jump we had with the UH-60s in February of '93, which was probably like the last official thing I did as mortar platoon leader before they sent me to Gordon to be signalized.
But you didn't lose rank being a mortar platoon leader. It was
God
a lot of opportunity.
Because of this man here, I got to the next level, and no one died, and rounds were on target. The only exception was that first round we were shooting in January of '93.
How does he remember this?
I remember because the ground was frozen, and we thought we dug in the bipod for the base gun first round. Dropped first round. I remember I was standing right there. It was like slow motion. The freaking bipod kicked out.
Oh yeah, and the
it was like this, and I'm like,
but the round was already gone, right? The round had already dropped.
No.
Oh.
The round was dropping as the tube was dropping.
Oh, just the round sliding down the tube caused it.
So
I remember those bad things.
Oh, it wasn't high angle hell. It was low angle hell. And the only thing I think that saved us, because we were at a high point. The firing point was like elevated above the frozen marsh muskeg. What do we call that? I don't know. So the round went. I don't know what charge it was. I don't remember, but it didn't seem like it went very far, but it went down.
Yeah.
There's no way it was in the range fan. There's no way it was in the minimum spec.
Did we report that?
Report what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I think there's a statute of limitations. Because somebody asked me, sir, do you need to call range control? Like, about what?
About what? I don't know what you're talking about. 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 So the field expedient was the assistant gunner held the bipod down, and we kept firing. So there you go.
Did he always hold it down, or did we dig it in?
I don't remember. Maybe after a couple rounds, it might have.
So it was frozen. It was cold out.
But I don't. By the way, I don't even know what you're talking about. This never happened.
So you said the ground was frozen, right?
The ground was frozen. Out. But we thought
This is why I probably didn't know about it. I probably was in the FBC.
He was in the freaking tent with the freaking
Yukon
stove.
I was computing
some
missions.
Some of us were out there trying to mimic being, I should worry about security for this position because, I don't got enough.
You can't let your fingers get cold and frostbite. You're trying to compute missions.
We had to rotate the soldiers in because it was that cold. So anyway, there we go. There's the story.
Yeah,
so,
we always do tell one, it seems like, because Doug remembers everything.
Yes. The round was well inside the minimum range fan, if I remember correctly. That's absolutely true.
There we go. All right. Hey, Kent, what's up, bud? Old Colbeck, he's throwing us what's up. So, look, let's talk about it. On Monday, I mean, Doug and I were talking about this earlier. This news of Dave I've sat on for a long time. I couldn't tell anybody. It has been, I was just telling Doug and his wife and family, it's a surreal thing to know that one of your closest friends is being recognized for the phenomenal bravery he should have been recognized for years ago, not 15 years later. And have him call you up and say, you're going to be with me at every step. You're going to be side by side. And I'm just extremely honored that in a couple weeks, I'm going to be with Dave, not only on the day when he has that medal hung around his neck,
Amen,
but the days before and after. It's a whole week. There's all kind of stuff that goes on. Obviously, I can't talk about all the details. Even I don't even know them all yet because there's a lot of movements of people and stuff. But the plan is to hopefully do a whole bunch of Facebook Lives or Instagram videos while going through this entire ceremony. And I mean, it's 3 days of stuff. So Toby and I have talked about this. I know I'll be able to have my phone at some times in certain events. So the plan is to, anytime I can, I'll be doing tweeting, posting on the page, Instagram pictures, videos, Facebook videos. So the week of the 24th of June, I highly encourage you to stay tuned in to all of our socials, and all that. Like I say, maybe throwing video up or whatever, but stay tuned into all those as you never know what I'm going to get. Never know who I could have an on-the-spot interview with. I mean, right. I may be standing next to the man himself, the president, maybe the vice, maybe SecDef. Who knows, right? I don't know. Sergeant Major of the Army. So I'm going to try to take any opportunity I can without being rude or cheesy or whatever, to just say, hey, come on, do something, get a shout out, and just throw that. So I really encourage you to tune in and stay tuned in that week. I want to try to extend. I'm still trying to imagine what this is going to be like, being in such close proximity to all these people and witness this historic event. Much less, I would love to extend that and allow everyone to be part of it. So hopefully I can through technology and let you see some of that you don't see when the major networks cut over just to do the ceremony, but some of the before and after. But yeah, look, Dave is if you have read House to House, good on you. You need to if you haven't. If you can find a copy, I'm assuming the publisher Simon & Schuster is going to be running a third print now.
All right.
It was not many copies on Amazon before the announcement because I was checking because I knew the announcement was coming, and they were definitely wiped out by the time the announcement happened that afternoon on Monday. But if you can get a copy, hardback or softback, read it. It gives it a very good description of what he had to do in that house, where he killed 4 Iraqi insurgents and another one accidentally fell off a roof, but pretty much wounded him bad and took him out. So you're talking, and if you haven't, if you can't get a chance to read the book, you go on to just Google Dave's name. It's going to hit all over. But the U.S. Army has put up their page like they always do about a Medal of Honor honoree, inductee. It has a full description. It has a great video. I've been putting up stuff on both Stu and the Nunn and Boo Hammer of him describing what the event was like. It has maps of the house and all that kind of stuff. But you're talking about a guy that went into a house, got his guys out that were there, and ended up taking out a house full of insurgents by himself.
Amen, brother. Thank you. God bless you.
And he's credited with saving the lives of 3 squads of his infantry platoon, right, by doing that. They were held up in there. They weren't going anywhere. So when it's all said and done, you don't have the book. You're waiting on back order. You go check out the page. If you can do anything, you want to look for the HBO documentary called Only the Dead See the End of War. Or if better yet, if you have Netflix streaming, it's called Only the Dead. It's on there. Robert Ware, the embedded reporter, is with Dave. That is the reason why he even got the Silver Star, much less got recommended for the Medal of Honor. He caught a lot of this, and I mean, if you haven't watched it, it's a raw, documentary. It's in your face. It's a lot to take in, especially if you have not seen that kind of stuff before. But the most phenomenal thing is, when I first saw this documentary last year, when it first came out, I'd heard about it, and I said, "Hey, everyone's talking about this documentary," and I said, "Okay." I had nothing to do. It had to do with Dave at all. And I was like, okay, so it'll be some embedded reporter. I'm like, well, it's kind of late after Iraq War, but whatever, I'll watch it. And then I see him on there, and it's, Bells, and, it's kind of his nickname is Bells or Bell. And we start seeing him. I'm like, holy crap, there's Dave. And, again, no idea what was coming. Then I see, or better yet, hear pretty much the whole fight going on in the house on this reporter's camera. As he first went into the house with Dave. And then he got pushed out by all the fire and stuff. But he went in, just him, which is big cojones for him.
Yeah, that's
He had a camera on, and he went in the house with Dave by himself. And then he, wasn't able to stay in there. So he's just outside the doorway. And you see this dark doorway, black, and you just hear flashes and hear blood-curdling screams. And you hear the booms and all the shots and all that stuff. And he's capturing the entire battle on his camera's audio. So it correlates and matches up with the book and what you'll read now on the stuff and the White House announcement, the Pentagon announcement, and I mean it's all right there. You don't to get that opportunity when you think about the embedded reporters, even far back as Vietnam, even you go, the World War II was more propagandish, but those reporters were really, they were out there. They covered a lot of battles, but I don't think anywhere around when a Medal of Honor generating moment happened. With all the embedded reporters we had in Iraq and Afghanistan, I can't think of one there. The closest thing we've ever had has been like the drone footage of the FLIR footage from Black Hawk Down, if you would, right? Gothic Serpent, where they just happen to have it, where the 2 Delta snipers were on the ground. You see them by the helicopter. But to have an embedded reporter right there in the proximity of any military unit while something's happening, and it's actually the entire Medal of Honor generating moment, is a once in a lifetime. Like that guy, struck the lotto, right? I mean, there's just to have that happen.
It all aligned. Right?
Yeah, there's just doesn't have the chances are so 1 in a billion that you're going to be there at the right time, at the right place, and all that kind of stuff. Yep. And he absolutely was. And I don't think Michael Weir's gotten the credit. I hope this does, and it gives a lot more popularity to the documentary because, he wrote the story, I think, for the Rolling Stone or Wall Street Journal right afterwards. But, he didn't release this documentary to recent. And I don't think it picked up in the military circles, but it didn't really get the, one, I guess no one knew that the Medal of Honor was coming out of it. It still was a Silver Star generating moment, which is significant enough. I mean, but I hope that you get a chance to watch. Again, it's called Only the Dead. It is on Netflix streaming, and it is definitely worth the watch. Like the book is worth the read. So you just don't get that. And to have a Medal of Honor recipient, a lot of them will write a book well after they've gotten the Medal of Honor, right? I'm sure some have. I can't think of the numbers or names, but none of our real recent ones have. Of course, Mark Cottrell wrote about what got Murphy his Medal of Honor, and we had that documented capture. But Sal, and we've seen the stories and stuff with Sal Gunta and Petrie and stuff. But to have a guy, he released that book and published it in 2007, 3 years after the Fallujah attack, which, by the way, this all happened on Dave's 29th birthday. Just throw that in there, too. What are the chances of that? On your 29th birthday, you're in there doing this action. But to have, write a book 3 years later so it's fresh. It's not thinking back years. You're capturing it with no intent that it's for a Medal of Honor, that it's this or that.
Just happened to be there, right?
And he just wrote it, documented experiences. And if you have ever heard Dave talk or whatever about the book, and if you read the foreword, I mean, he's not doing it for himself. He's doing it, and he talks about when he first released it, it's raw and it's in your face. The book is too. But he felt, and there was some feedback that people thought, it's too much and all stuff. But he's like, people can't handle this, right? You can't support the troops and say you're behind them and all of what they do, and if you're not able to just read words, if nothing else, about what they have to do in combat.
The real raw.
And it wasn't what he did. It was what his fellow soldiers, his fellow, the Marines they were with, because they were embedded with the Marines. He was capturing all that in the book, and he was capturing the whole Battle of Fallujah in November 2004, which happened after the Battle of April 2004, which did not turn out well for us, which is why we went back in there. He was capturing just everything that everybody did. So you have that guy goes in on his birthday, does this thing. You have an embedded reporter right there who captures the whole thing. You write a book 3 years later, which documents it in great grisly detail, and then now 15 years later, finally being recognized for the actions he took is just it is a perfect alignment.
Absolutely, excellent justice, if you will. 15 years in the making. And
it's people say that bravery and this and that. Whatever. Let me tell you, if you've ever listened to Dave on WBEN where he was hosting, where I have hosted with him a number of times. As you know, we've had him on this show 4 or 5 times. He's guest hosted on this show with me. He has, like I say, I've been on WBEN with him more times than I count. And the most humblest guy there is people call up, thank him for his service, all this stuff, and he thanks you and he moves on. He doesn't harp on it. And if you get a chance, I believe on Tuesday, it's all over the web. You can find it. Just Google him. He did an interview. There was a press conference. He did an interview with WBN, and he did a press conference with a number of press. All the microphones are around. And he talked about that day. He talked about the incident, and what this means to him and what he's going to do with this Medal of Honor, like how he's going to use it to represent and that kind of stuff. Get a chance, watch that. It's not long. It's a great press briefing, and you're hearing from the guy himself. So it's 6 others have been awarded the Medal of Honor in Iraq. None of them were here to tell their story.
Right.
It was told through others' accounts and their families and loved ones and fellow soldiers and stuff. So this is a rare moment to get him to tell it himself, and he's done that now a number of times.
Amen.
So. Yes, big thing. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to being part of the whole event, and hopefully bringing it to you guys.
That'd be awesome.
So
especially with you there, that's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be something. But no, so we got that coming up in a couple weeks, and that is man. There's a lot of stuff going on around here with the honestly, I don't even know how the president can fit this in. The guy is just what little insight I have into things and the work I do and stuff like that. I mean, I can't imagine the op tempo what it's like to work in that White House, because there's things happening left, right, and center.
24/7.
7
days a week.
Yeah, I mean, you got working deals with Mexico, doing tariffs and immigration stuff, all that kind of stuff going on, and then at the same time, you've got all these crazy investigations, things going on. So who knows what subpoenas are coming across, whatever. You got markets and stock markets you're working, and then you have Iran trying what they're trying.
Desperate. I guess they're desperate, Troy.
Is that what you thought?
That's what it's maybe the sanctions and the breaking the deal or whatever have really are I guess having the desired effect. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know if there's a plan from our perspective of where this leads.
Do you think they think there's no option? Like we're not nothing to lose.
Maybe that's it, and maybe the mullahs or whoever run that place know things that we don't know. Maybe they're we know that the Iranian people probably the Arab Spring back in 07 thing that stuff is just it might be underground, but it's still fomenting. So maybe they're trying to distract the people
What I don't get
for
is
own people.
yesterday Iran released U.S. I think he's a citizen, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but they released a guy that had been they had accused of being a spy and was in prison, and I think he's a U.S. citizen or maybe a green card holder or something.
Mhm.
But they released him yesterday. Right? We've been working his release forever.
Yeah.
And then today they attacked two tankers in the Gulf. They know the entire Fifth Fleet's there. We have B-52s and all that stuff in Guam or whatever it is, and we've got all that armament and power there. And the reports I saw, Doug, where they torpedoed one of them. There's also talks of a sea mine, and there's an ocean sea mine or whatever that is also hasn't been exploded yet. So. And they do that, and then one of them's a Panamanian flagship. The other one is I don't think it's U.S. flag, but it's somehow related to us.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay, he's a U.S. permanent resident. Thank you very much, Rob.
You.
I knew I could count on you.
And maybe they have Iran. Wouldn't be surprised. They have some rogue elements inside too.
Yeah, so maybe somebody got the word and they didn't get the word like it was a drill.
Right.
It's like, fire torpedo.
So that's why we have these conflicting. They're releasing an American or whatever his designation was at the same time or near same time as their.
So they do this and attack. So I mean, what I don't think they understand is that's okay. You don't like America, go after an American ship, like a warship. See how
it's just not going to work out well.
Oil drives this entire global economy.
Yes.
Right. I think price per barrel went up a little over $3 as soon as that attack happened. Our State Department, Pompeo, Secretary of State, is saying Iran is directly responsible for this. Obviously, they probably have intel or something, right? I know the Fifth Fleet is investigating, so they're not going to say that. That's a pretty bold claim to accuse another country of doing something like that. You want to do it on? I think they could, So if with that kind of stuff happening, you're attacking oil shipping. You're going to affect you're going to turn the whole world against you, right? You start affecting their stuff. And you're essentially attacking civilian vehicles.
Right.
Who are non-combatants, right?
But you're a rational person, Troy. Yeah. And, I think some of those people, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy to bring about the Armageddon, the end of the world, whatever. So I guess some of them, I'm sure, have no compunction of doing what they can to bring that about, light the spark or whatever.
Right. Well, they're definitely
really stir the pot for the rest of the world.
They seem to be doing that for sure.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, I don't know what. Again, I don't know what. Now the administration is dealing with this, and it's like, how are they going to best control this, make this. I mean, you're talking about decisions got to be made that you're best guessing and you're war gaming and you're doing all this analysis, but you really don't know what the other side.
I don't know how much human intelligence we have on the ground there, or how high up our reliable intelligence is in their hierarchy over there. But then you get the Hong Kong riots as well, or whatever movement over there against the Chinese overlords,
right?
About the extradition law that China wants to, either they've already laid down or they're fixing to lay down. So if you do something wrong, if you're some nonconformist, you could get extradited from Hong Kong to mainland China and probably never be seen or heard from again. And it looks like at least there's 1 million or so Hong Kong at minimum that get, this is bad because that's exactly what'll happen. We'll just be sent to some gulag re-education camp or whatever, forced labor, make iPhones at the point of a gun. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's that's how I vision it over there.
Yeah, it's not just riots there. We have our own issues here to deal with. I don't know if you saw, but and I haven't kept up on it today. I've been pretty busy, but there were major riots in Memphis, Tennessee.
I did not know this.
Yeah, they had a number of riots. It had to do with a police shooting, I believe, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. I saw a little snippet last night. It had to do with a shooting that happened. Some suspects that did something. They tried to shoot the police or do something. I don't remember the details, but and then people got upset and there's rioting. I mean, there's all those kind of issues.
Shoot at the police and then the shoot back at you and you're upset.
You're upset. I think that's how it worked, but I'm not sure.
Did I get that right? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Well, no, someone will correct us, but I think that pretty much goes along now. But yeah, so you got that going. And again, I look at, the inside, I've got this inside track and everything that Dave's going through for the Medal of Honor and all the stuff that coordination goes on. And there's a lot of info I can't share and won't if I ever will, but publicly. But there's a lot of moving parts.
It's amazing.
And then I look at it and go, that's just a tidbit.
Right.
Everything that's happening.
That's just one event.
Right. There's all kind of other stuff going on.
They're planning and managing.
But and then of course other news coming. We talk at the White House is Sarah Huckabee Sanders is announced just a little bit ago. Yeah, she is 3.5. Not 3.5 years. 2.5 years? 2.5 years. I guess,
2.5 years into it.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
She took over after Spicer.
Yeah, they went through some communication.
Spicer short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she is stepping down at the end of the month of June, going back to Arkansas. But that's kind of common. I mean, cabinet members and people in those kind of. I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff.
The op tempo there, like you said earlier, has got to be.
They got to be running
charts.
16, 18 hours a day. And a press secretary is just. That's not a job where you're going to go be liked. I mean, you're going to get beat up 10 ways.
I don't know how much PT these people are doing to keep up, and how much water they're drinking.
Yeah, so make sure you stay hydrated. Change your socks.
You should change your socks.
But she can't even go sit down in a restaurant. People harass her or whatever. But it's got to wear on you. It's got to wear on your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything else. And you got to at some point go. I imagine it's an honor to work for any administration to be selected. By a president to come work or better yet speak on his behalf.
Sure, right.
And then but at the same time you have your own health, livelihood, family.
Get your own
health.
Family. There's other things you want to do.
Yeah, and so that was big news ahead today. Let's see. Well, interesting to see how the media is going to portray that. I my guesses. It's going to be that the one side of the media will say, oh my goodness, look, she's bailing on them. It's falling apart.
Yeah.
Sky's falling.
The walls are closing in. That's
another side will be like, it's another personnel change. She wasn't fired. Apparently, this president spoke well of her, and it's time to move on. And if you look back at history of every administration, of every whether it be cabinet member or political appointee, it's rare that one stays on for a real long time or even past a full term. Right. I can see why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh. I mean, and maybe they want to take for the benefit of their family and friends. They want to take, I don't want to say their fame, but that opportunity they had.
Well, they definitely
and take it back to home base, to Arkansas in her case.
You could influence political office,
right? And make the most of it.
It could be a lot of other opportunities.
And that's America,
doors open
right?
Up, right?
Isn't that America?
Yeah.
Making use of the opportunities that are provided.
Yeah.
The blessings that we have here. So it's kind of like, oh, awesome, good for her and her family then.
Yeah. Speaking of opportunities, we were talking about Dave earlier. Sorry, getting a phone call. Obviously, someone knows I'm not on the show, right? Doesn't know I'm on show.
Such disrespect.
No, it's actually a good friend. But anyways, the opportunities this is going to present Dave is going to be awesome too, because and he knows it. He now has his voice,
right, and he can do a lot of good with this. Absolutely, this is fantastic.
Take whatever you take. Let me refer to our good friend Tim Payne. Right, we've had Tim on the show a number of times. Tim is a double amputee, right, blown up in Afghanistan, and lost both legs. But the most positive guy you've ever met, and we've had him on the show a number of times. He's the most uplifting. People see him. He's in a wheelchair, no legs, and people are kind of get this, oh man, sorry, whatever. And he's like, that's great. He's like, this is awesome, best thing ever happened in my life. And people are like, what? They don't want to take it. They're like, but he looks at it like he's a profound follower of Jesus. He is a strong Christian. That happened well after him being blown up, not during, before, or didn't, whatever. It happened years later. But he looks at it as, hey, by me not having legs and this happening, I get people's attention, and it lets me give the testimony of Jesus and testify to people and convince people to come to Christ. He's a guy that has taken one of the most horrific things that can happen to somebody.
Counterintuitive off the scale there. And
says, what can I do to make this positive?
For others.
Dave has taken, awesome. Dave has talked about this, so I'll talk about it because he said it publicly, right? He is going to, take this, which, he went through hell, him and all of his guys together, went through hell in a handbasket and walked right into it. Some actions happened. He, did something that, through just courage and bravery without thinking about himself, and always putting others before him. Did this act that they've determined, justifies the Medal of Honor, and he is going to use that to propel his ability to be a voice for veterans and veteran causes.
God bless him for it.
He has started a number of nonprofits. I mean, one of the first ones he started was Vets for Freedom with Pete Hegseth, who's on Fox and Friends all the time, and a good friend Mark and some other folks. He started with it. He's been involved with a number of other nonprofits and things like that. I, of course, being close to him as I am, he and I have talked about a number of initiatives that he's wanted to do, all for the benefit of veterans' health, give them a chance. Right. So this is where his heart is. It's not something like, I think I'll take this up now. That this is who he is and where his passion has always been. So he's taken this awesome, life-changing moment,
opportunity,
which has already changed his life. It happened as of Monday. And he's going to use it to have that voice, right? Whether he ran for congressional office before, did very well but didn't win. He's been very active in the political realm in Western New York, especially, and with us being a host of a radio show and conservative talk radio show. So I mean, he's already kind of built that fan base, if you would, or name recognition. But now he's got it on a global, definitely national, if not global level. And he's going to turn around and do his best for others, right? He's not going to look to profit. I can tell you firsthand, he's not looking to profit off this. He's not looking to say, I got mine or anything like that. That's not who he is. And I know from my conversation with him that he couldn't even conceive doing such a thing.
It's a critical mass type deal.
But he's going to do it to, bring that awareness. Kind of like, Miss America, Miss Universe does for a year. Right, they try to bring awareness to world hunger,
to whatever they're interested in,
or the perfect date being like April 19th, whatever they do, right? So
this is the perfect date right here, Troy.
Yes,
that's what that
was my miscongeniality shout out there. But anyways, he's going to do it for life, and he's going to do it, which many others done, right? I've gotten to know Paul Buca. We've interviewed him here. I've gotten to meet him, Leo Thorsness. A number of folks that are that have been, recipients of the Medal of Honor for a long time, and they still do the same thing. They go out and speak to folks. They try to motivate people. They do things like that all the time. And Dave is going to follow right along those footsteps.
And to me, it's just so incredibly humbling because, my wife and I say this a lot. She's a nurse, so she's seen a lot of bad stuff too. But we just sit around and just go, you know what? We have no problems, compared to other people, other places, and it makes me thankful as well. So I'm just incredibly humbled and thankful for people like Dave. It's just like, that's awesome. Yeah. So I can sit here with Troy and drink some in the freedom and wear silly shirts and have
not silly. These are
silly pictures on the wall of
those are silly.
Of fictitious characters that don't exist in the real world. And what a country, and thank God we have people like that. But
we do have Rob, who keeps us straight as the best unpaid producer ever. So he told me Memphis was 36 police injured. It was a shooting. Yeah, it was
36. Was it like half the department? What I
think Memphis probably has a big police department.
Apparently they need whatever their IMTO is. It needs to be expanded.
Yes.
is my assumption.
Yeah, he also let me know that Sarah Sanders was there. It was 3.5 years. So through the campaign.
Through the campaign. Gotcha.
So
makes sense.
Thank you, Rob. You're keeping us honest, keeping us up.
Man, he's like our fact checker.
He is. Man. He's he's right here when he's tuned in. He's not in the studio like with Toby.
He's not only the best unpaid. He's probably the only unpaid producer potentially.
There may be others. But one day when we get big sponsor, we love our listed 9. But when we get
he's up in this hierarchy that no one else is in. And he needs to be recognized.
That's why we're gonna get him some Gears for Grunts stuff.
We're gonna get him some swag,
some VO hats. We're gonna get him some Enlisted 9 Fight Company shirts because he is becoming a instrumental part of this show.
Integral.
He keeps us honest and really much keeps us what we're talking about.
He's integral. I just wanted to say that word.
Yeah,
that's a $2.
But when we don't know, when we talk about stuff, we don't know what we're talking about, which is most of the time.
That's like 80% of what I say.
Yeah,
and I'm lowballing it.
He is he's on it. He's Googling. He's very good. He's very good at Googling it. He can take time to do that.
Well, you believe everything on the internet, and we all know that. Absolutely.
Yes. He also just told me crime is bad in Memphis. That I know. I didn't need Google for that one, but thanks, Rob.
Thank you for the validation. That was awesome.
I used to go to high school about an hour or so from there. My family's all from that area. I know it well, and it is worse now than it's ever been. I know my mom, who's watching, has got to be very happy.
I'm a Stuart.
Has got to be very happy that I am not in high school in today's current times.
What about that song I was walking in Memphis?
Yeah.
Back in '91.
Yeah, we're not doing song trivia now. I know you're the master of it.
There's always time for song trivia.
But
useless information.
Not that I, just like Doug didn't accidentally shoot around short of the range fan.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
There's no way that I went to Memphis in high school when you did not know I was there.
There's no evidence that you were ever.
But had I ever done that, I'm sure you're glad I did it back then than doing it today.
There's no evidence. There's no photographic, audio.
That's because we didn't have smartphones. Thank God.
Yes.
Thankfully.
It's fabulous.
If we would not have careers.
I read an article
and probably wouldn't have families if there were smartphones back in our day.
That our generation is the only one left to save the world because we didn't grow up totally digitized. So we're like some sort of gap generation between non-digital and digital, and we have a foot in each world.
Oh, we have a foot in the world because we're now.
And we're the only ones who can save the world because we have a shard, if I may use that term, of imagination left. And this is just a very interesting article.
So you're saying we split both
because we Gen X.
No, we're not Gen X. No.
It just sounds cool to say Gen.
Yeah, it is.
I put the X.
I think I'm officially still a baby boomer at the tail end.
Negative. You are not.
Okay, I don't know. Nor do I care.
Baby boomers ended in like '64.
Oh, then I'm not. No.
See, you're in my talking about my generation.
I'm in a Woodstock generation or whatever. So
yeah, I think we're like either early, I don't know what they call us, but
it's interesting you say that and you heard that because they we're also the only ones that we can go jump in a standard shift car and drive it and read cursive.
Hell yeah, we can.
We can read cursive.
That's right. And wait, it gets better. We can successfully utilize a rotary phone. And that sounds ridiculous, but it even gets better. My wife, who's a nurse, was a school nurse for a while. She had kids, middle school, said, hey, you're sick, you got a fever, whatever the criteria is to call your parents to get home and be taken away. Pick up that phone and call your mom or your dad and tell them you need to be
They had a rotary phone?
They didn't have a rotary phone. It wasn't even a rotary phone. It was just a push-button phone, just a desktop phone like I have at work, just a desktop phone. They couldn't figure it out.
They didn't know what to push.
They didn't know what to push because there were like actual.
Or did they try to walk away?
There were actual tangible buttons, Troy. They weren't like just some software, UI, UX stuff. No. And
they should do that. I wonder if anyone's made a video.
They picked up the handset and they're like, "Where's the screen?"
I'm surprised someone's hasn't made a hidden camera video, viral video, like putting a rotary phone in a public place where people need to use
it would
phone.
Cause pan to freaking.
And just watch people not know where to do.
So if you believe in evolution, do you need to also believe in de-evolution? Eventually you hit a wall. Yeah. And then it's just. No. I'm just asking I'm putting it out there, getting a little philosophical.
But at the same time, if you look at the older generation, not that any of them would be watching, mom, dad, aunt, and uncles.
God, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
That's right.
That's a fact.
All of us can say that about the previous
Rob should fact check us on that.
Yeah, I think Rob could confirm if it wasn't for the older generation, none of us would be here.
If it wasn't for my mom and dad, I would not be here.
Yes,
that's a fact.
I think we can stand. It's not fake news.
No.
So, at the same time, they were able to do things. The new generation has such access to information and such speed. And can move and have so much power in their hand, and these devices that we call phones, but are really cameras with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right.
That it enables and empowers them quite a bit of what they can do. I mean, do you remember going to do a library? God, you get 4th, 5th grade.
Oh my God, doing decimal system and all that nonsense.
You'd have to do a book report on something. And you go to the library.
Economic development in sub-Saharan Africa.
I didn't do that in 4th or 5th grade.
That's a real report. I think I got an A on it. I'm just saying.
I didn't do that in 4th or 5th grade.
This was college. That's what
I probably did a report on I drew the country of Morocco.
That was the economic development in the third world class at the university formerly known as Southwest Texas State in beautiful San Marcos, Texas, and that was Dr. Jack Mogab's senior level economics class because that was what I minored in.
You mentioned way too much stuff that doesn't.
There you go. That's
so baby boomers. There's 44 to 64. Thank you very much, Rob, the unpaid producer.
So what are we, Rob?
Yeah, what are we, Rob?
So if you're born between
65
and like 1980, what are you?
Yeah, what are we? What are we?
You were born in the 60s, right? Still,
yes, I was.
You barely made it.
I barely made
awesome.
it. No, so I was just thinking back, like say our generation where you get a book report. I remember doing book reports on countries. I don't know if it was Morocco or whatever. And you would go to the library. One, if your parents like bought whatever they had to buy to get the encyclopedia.
Yes.
Usually you were missing a couple volumes, and that was the one you needed. So you had to go to the library. You couldn't check out encyclopedias. You had to use them in the library.
You had to be static at the library, right?
You had to sit down, read through all this text,
write notes,
everything about it, write notes. Don't plagiarize. You really couldn't because you had to write it all down. And then go write a report based on all these facts, right? Whatever it was. I remember doing, and I was like, now someone just brings up their phone, Googles it, hits Wikipedia, like everything you need right there. Yeah.
And then there's like multiple
and it's something like that, like schools, like my own son's school, they're issued iPads. They don't have to pick up the phone. They just go to the iPad and Google it,
Well, I think the kids are even smarter than that, Troy. I think they're just like, I'm going to Google for a paper that's on the same topic as mine, that's within the same time frame, and then I'm going to find it.
But there's
online.
some good anti-plagiarism tools out there.
There are. You just got to tweak it a little bit.
Oh, is that
I'm sure. I don't know. I'm just imagining to defeat the scan if they actually run it through some filter. I'm sure we could Google right now. I bet you could Google how to defeat the filter.
I stand corrected. You were right. Gen X, 65 to 79.
We put the X in Gen X.
So that's us.
Yes.
You were 65 to 79 Gen X.
Hell yeah.
I thought Gen X was later.
Negative, Rampart. There's something like that's.
Here's more coming in.
Wait.
We got more coming in. 80 to 94 is a millennial.
Stacy Mullen. Hi, babe. Love you.
And 95 to 2015 is a Gen Z.
Gen Z. Is that like World War Z?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Why is it Z? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because of X,
what are they
Y,
gonna,
and Z?
So
What's next?
I know. Is it going to be...
What's after 2015?
Is it going to be alphanumeric? Is it going to be like Alpha 1 generation or Alpha 5? First of all, we need to Google. Rob needs to Google who makes these decisions.
Yeah, who comes up with
labeling. First of all, the whole generation thing. Who gets to go, okay, I'm going to... There's some guy, like, is it like the Marlboro Man from the X-Files? He sits around and we're going to relabel the generation and we're going to set it from
and how do they pick the dates? Because they're not all the same year.
It's weird. Yeah, they're not like, is it 15 years?
We should come up with a name.
Dude, we could just come up with our own stuff. Why do we have to be tied down to this?
Yeah. I say the next one's Gen K. The Kardashians.
Circle K?
Yeah.
Special K? They're Special K.
It's not good cereal, not my opinion, but
we talked about their best cereals. Mine's Captain Crunch and Frosted Flakes.
Yeah,
that's
so we hit all kind of topics. Rob's saying Generation Alpha starts back over.
Who makes these decisions? Who's the generational authority?
Rob now knows he's challenged with figuring.
What's the authoritative body that says we're laying down a new generation and here's what we're calling it?
Yeah,
because we said so. What is this? What are we in communist Russia? We should be able to do whatever we want.
You can. Good point, as Rob says. You can choose your own gender, so now you can choose your own generation.
Well, I like Generation X. I just like to say X.
Well, I wonder. He says Generation Alpha. I wonder if it's called Generation A or Alpha. Is the recycle? You have to use the phonetic spelling of it. The one after that's Generation Bravo.
I don't know if the next generation can do phonetic alphabet.
Probably not. They can't write or read cursive.
Like Zulu, that does like Z. You know what?
Yeah.
X-ray, they don't know what that means.
Right.
Bravo.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The Bravo, they think that's like a cable channel.
We call it a pound sign. They call it hashtag. So
it's the pound sign, man.
Yeah.
Like pound cake.
So that's Rob is producing it tonight. He is proving it. Thank you, everybody's tuning in.
Rob, thank you for being the brains of this entire operation.
You know what I found out, Doug, is when you share a video and host it as a watch party, you get a lot of people tuning in. I am just a lot of friends of mine.
Maybe that
it's like they're like, Troy's doing a watch party. I wonder what he's watching. Oh, himself.
I'm doing my part to increase your your stats.
Yeah.
To bring
did you host a watch party?
So you can bring in more ad revenue for your show from the enlisted 9 guys.
We would love a lot of ad revenue. We are open to other companies being advertisers.
I'm doing what I can for you. I'm waiting on Big Army to make the right decision.
Right.
I'm talking to you, Big Army.
So they just I want to
did you get some important update? My goodness, it's already the top of the hour.
Yes.
What happened?
So I want to talk about a couple months ago, Toby and I talked about we're going to make a bracket. You remember that? We're going to make a bracket.
I don't remember the bracket one.
It's the Democratic candidate hopeful bracket because I think we're up to 24. So he and I are going to make like a basketball Final Four bracket or anything other kind of bracket.
Because 23 is not enough.
Well, yeah, whatever it ends up being, right? So they're getting ready to set the first debate.
Because Hillary's not in it yet.
Yeah, they're going to still set the first. They're setting the first debate. I did not see, but I know that they are.
It's this month, is it not? I believe it's later this month.
Well, I know
Rob needs to check me.
I know they just. I know they just decided who's going to make it.
I was going to say, what's the criteria to make it into the televised debate?
That I'm not sure. But
you have to have like 1%. To be a 1%er in terms of your
I don't know how here it is. So
popularity.
They are doing it. They need 130,000 unique donors and at least 2% support in 4 polls to make the second round of presidential debates.
The donor thing is just a computer program away. That part's easy. The 2.
So they have 14 qualified by polling and contribution. So there's a number, I guess, that cannot make the cut.
So from 24, we're going to have how many?
We have 14.
Like 10? Okay.
And they're saying that...
that's 14, I believe, in Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't keep it. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of stuff. But that's coming up. It'll be interesting to see how that does. It's going to be interesting to watch how they separate themselves. We talked about this a few weeks ago when in the last election, obviously there was the insiders, politicians, the Ted Cruz's, the Christies, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And there were the outsiders, of course, President Trump. There was Carly Fiorina, right?
Yeah.
There were some that were from the business world. Ben Carson,
that's
right.
True.
That were
that's
so that
true.
was kind of the delineation, right? Was either you were a politician or you weren't.
So
now with this one, I mean, it's.
I hate Trump more.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to separate themselves.
I viscerally dislike the president. I mean, what kind
well,
of
look,
verbiage are we talking about?
It puts them in a bad spot because many in the Democratic, whether they're left, I mean, Biden has always been known to be kind of a centrist, moderate, whatever, not really too far left, but they all seem to be pushing that way. And they're cutting off their nose to spite their face because they are, the American people that make a difference are the independents, the ones on the middle. The people on the left are going to vote left no matter what.
Right.
People on the right are going to vote right. It's the people in the middle, the independents we know make the difference in the last large number of elections, presidential elections. So they don't want to see that. They don't want to see you go ultra left. So the challenge for these candidates is for the primaries in many states, not every state, but you need your party to vote you to win the primary, right? So you need your party, so they're going to have to go from talking one way or saying they support something one way to hopefully win their party primary, which means they got to try to go super left, I guess.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah.
And then when they go for the general election, they've got to somehow pull that back and hope all the video and audio doesn't haunt them.
Well, the media will.
They got to go from, hey, it's all about free.
Will help them.
Yeah, it's all going to be about free healthcare and college and this and this and this and get rid of ICE. Yeah. And then when they go general election, it's going to be like, oh no, I ain't that bad. Like we could,
They just need to be imaged. Yeah. Reimagined.
So
I think that's the word.
I say this, and it's not just because I'm wearing a blue shirt. I feel bad for the Democratic candidates because they're not in a good position to fairly win. And I'm honest, and I mean when I say that. They can't win on their true morals and principles. And I think the American people, regardless of what party you voted for in 16 or 12 or 8 or whatever, they're just sick and tired of that. And I think this is evident by Bernie Sanders almost winning the DNC nomination.
Right.
And by President Trump winning the RNC and winning the presidency, of how much the American people are sick of politicians talking out of one side of their mouth and doing something else or whatever. It puts them in a. I mean, look, with President Trump, you get what you get.
Yep.
The guy he is not beholden to anybody. He doesn't care who he offends, so on and so forth. Whether you like him or not, people realize, okay, he talks the way he talks, and he's not really faking it for too many people. Where the Democrats are going to have to out-left each other, get themselves separated. You know, you see now that Beto and different ones are and Buttigieg,
Robert Francis,
Robert Francis O'Rourke.
Okay.
They're attacking Biden, they're attacking Sanders. They attack whoever's at the top, right? And I think the voters, whether Democrat or not, are smarter than that. They're not going to fall for that. They're really in a bad spot.
It's amazing that Robert Francis O'Rourke fall from grace, and so much so that they're talking about maybe pulling out and running against the other senator from Texas, Cornyn, next year. So that'll be interesting to watch. Right. To see how that plays out. Not good enough to be president, but senator from Texas. He's totally.
I mean, you got Kamala Harris was blaming the race card why she's not getting over 1%.
Gillibrand is blaming because she's a woman.
Gillibrand because she's a woman. They all act like their
victims. Piece
of diversity is keeping them from that. When this is a very, very diverse crowd, just like the 2016 Republican candidates.
Can you guys have a show on Buttigieg's military service record?
That's
my request. Can Rob write that down as fodder for a future?
We could do that. We'd like to get him on and talk about his military service. That would be
fabulous.
Awesome. Rob has done good at getting us some guests. That'd be awesome if he could get us that.
I want to hear about him driving around as commander. What I want to hear about.
Someone did cover that. I forget. I saw a story the other day.
God bless him.
Someone did cover that, and
we had E4s who did that.
They called him out about what he did.
We had E4s up in Alaska.
I did see a picture of him standing on a mountaintop in Afghanistan. I think it was outside Gaza.
It's probably the second time he's ever holding an M4.
He's holding an M4.
I'm just saying.
No helmet, no IBA.
I'm not sure he knows how to. I'm not going to.
With his Army shirt on, holding the M4, Army issued shirt. On a mountaintop.
Was that his
with
M4?
With no protective
borrowed M4.
I'm sure he took it off this gear tree sitting behind his desk. I don't know.
I'm just asking questions.
He obviously was not in a dangerous spot. He had no protective gear on.
And he was smiling in the picture.
He was smiling, but
he didn't have his war face on.
Right. He did 6 months there, and he feels like he can speak for all the military.
He knows all, dude.
Which he can speak for as much of the military as IAVA can, who we had on as a guest. Who does not represent every vet of Iraq or Afghanistan, even though it implies that. Just like I can't speak for every veteran of Afghanistan, just like Dave can't speak for a veteran of Iraq, right? There's nothing that gives you that. We may think alike, we may be like-minded, but we all have the free will to think and decide and have opinions on whatever we want. So he is obviously playing that up. Robert Francis is obviously playing up this fake Latino background. Kamala Harris is trying to play race card. Cory Booker, I think I'm not sure why I think he's done, unless he's still trying to stay Spartacus.
But they're running for other places in a
Gillibrand is she goes for whichever way the wind goes, and that's reality.
Well,
look, the biggest threat that the Democrats have is Tulsi Gabbard. But as soon as she came out, she was recognized as a threat because she is very moderate down the middle. She's voted for both sides. She's very bipartisan. And
that's why
she's a female. She's a female, so she plays that card. She could pull that demographic. But she is obviously a threat because as soon as she announced, she was attacked by her own side.
And I agree with you, but I think she's in the wrong party. Because in my opinion, I don't think military service. How can I say this nicely?
Yeah, she was a vet too. I forgot about.
Publicly, they'll say it's a plus. Privately, I wonder what they'd say about military service.
The American people?
No, the people who are deciding who the Democratic nominee is.
If it means helping win, they love it, whatever it is.
If it means that...
Any demographic about anybody, right? If it's
but I'm right, it's outwardly, but inwardly, what is their true opinion?
Yeah, well, I mean...
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, with a lot of Democrats in the military. There's a lot of independents in the military. A lot of Republicans, right? There's a lot of people who don't care, don't vote. I don't understand, but they do. So,
I'm just here for the college.
Tulsi is definitely a very strong. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, maybe not against President Trump if he reruns, but let's say he doesn't run for election, someone else does. if Tulsi were to get up there, I could see myself possibly voting for her for president.
Definitely.
Not because it's her, but because I think I would support some of her policies and beliefs and stuff. It doesn't mean I have to like everything. I don't like everything current president.
No.
I didn't like everything the last president did,
No.
or the one before that.
There's no perfect. I bet if we were talking, if it was 1798, we're talking about the father of our country, George Washington, and we were two citizens sitting, whatever the equivalent in 1798 would have been of what we're doing now, probably at a bar drinking ale with a group of people, we'd be going, yeah, I love George Washington for the XYZ, but this other stuff, the whiskey rebellion that he put down, I'm just not for that.
Right.
But
you can't make everyone happy.
You can't make everybody happy.
No, not at all. And Rob, the good unpaid producer, did point out that Beto eats tacos with a fork. So
it's not a spork?
No, I think it's a fork. So
really?
anyways,
He made a decision?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, hey, everyone, we've been going a little over an hour. Want to thank you so much. We talked about a number of topics, but I want to leave you with the number one thing, and that is staying tuned with what we got going on here.
Amen.
Going to be at the White House in a couple weeks. Going to be at the Pentagon. And all around D.C., celebrating and honoring Dave as he gets recognized with his Medal of Honor. So stay tuned here to see as much as we can broadcast, put out, write, whatever it may be, to kind of give you some of that behind-the-scenes look and interaction. I have no doubt I'm going to be doing some in the evening hours with me and Dave. We'll be doing some on-the-street interviews with just he and I.
It's going to be awesome.
With the phone, just talking. It's going to be... And a number of probably guys that were with him that'll be there. A number of good friends of mine and Dave's that have been on this show. I won't mention yet who, but there's been a number that we share as mutual friends that are going to be shoulder to shoulder with me too, is celebrating that time. So it's good. There should be lots of good stuff to see here and read and all that stuff. So
absolutely.
Doug, I want to thank you so much for...
Wait, we got to flex for the camera like Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie Predator. We got
with my flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Right there. There you go. How's that? All right, awesome.
So, thank you so much for letting me here.
Thank you so much for letting me co-host again.
So it's a Stew in the Shard show tonight. It doesn't roll as good, but it works, right? So check out gearforgrunts.com if you're looking for, if you have a tactical rifle and you're looking for some awesome accessories for it. Be sure and check out Alyssa 9 Fight Company if you're looking for awesome wear shirts. You know, they're over there with E9 Apparel, and check them out. It's some good stuff. Colton and the boys got some great stuff up there. Hope to see Colton in a couple weeks too.
Cool.
I think I will.
Awesome.
He should be in the rough neighborhood I'm going to be in.
Okay.
So, anyways, check them out. We're looking forward to Toby being back next week. We have a great guest next week. Doug, I don't even know if I've told you this. I'm going to announce it here.
I'm
If
prepared.
you do not know who the name Dale Dye is,
You've been living under a rock.
You've been living under a rock. He has been on everything from Saving Private Ryan to I think Platoon to
definitely Platoon.
He usually plays a colonel, light colonel, older, distinguished.
He was the company commander of Platoon.
Commander of Platoon. Yeah. So Mr. Dale Dye, former Marine vet, Purple Heart recipient, Bronze Star recipient, Vietnam vet himself before he started being advisor on movies.
Right.
Rob has hooked us up with a great interview with him next Thursday evening. We're going to have him on here talking to him about a number of things. So if you don't know, Google Dale Dye, you'll see his IMDb page, and you're going to be like, oh, that dude. He's been, if you've watched any war movie, in probably the last 20 years, you've seen him.
I think even like war movies like The Patriot and stuff, he's like the military advisor for those movies.
Yeah, he's a military advisor on a lot of them. Yeah. Dude got a good deal there. So be sure and tune in next Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, here on Stu and Nunn, to the great interview with Mr. Dye. We're really excited about talking to him, and I'm sure we'll have updates about what's going on with Dave. And then, of course, the week after is that big week. I don't know. I don't remember right now who we're going to have someone that week, but after spending those days doing stuff with Dave.
I was going to say, you're probably going to have enough content for like 4 shows.
If I don't know if we have someone yet, I just don't remember. But if we don't, I'll have no shortage of. I'm probably just talking about how the week went.
That's like 3 shows content right there. It's going to be awesome.
So with that, I'm going to do my audio video stuff here as I have to do.
God bless y'all.
And,
thank you. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.
Want to wish all of you a good night, and thank you for joining us here on this Thursday night, and God bless.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Stu and the Nunn Radio. We hope you enjoyed your time with us because we've enjoyed sharing our time with you. Be sure to check out stewandthenunn.com in addition to asking us questions and interacting with us on our Facebook page and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Spreaker and Facebook Live. Also, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Warrior Media Solutions, Crewhammer.com, Veteran Outdoors, Graybeard Publishing, and Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Thank you again, and have a good night.